want to welcome you to our first official podcast.
Howdy-ho.
We're still playing with the names, but I think right now we're going with the Mountain, the Marine, and Jason.
I don't get a nickname.
He doesn't get a title. And he didn't shut off his phone.
Goes off.
10 seconds into our first podcast, and we already have... Who's calling? Who's calling? I want to know.
It's my daughter.
All right.
Okay.
All right, time out while he talks to his daughter.
Okay, from the top?
No, actually, I'm keeping that in there. It might be the funniest thing we have today. I don't want to ruin it. Anyway, so we're back after Jason's phone call, but it was just...
I'm important.
He's a dad. He's a good family man. We want to encourage that, so we're going to go. Anyway, this is our first podcast. Yeah, he can count. He's the Marine. He can count. Anyway, we're just going to have a few guys having fun, talking about movies, a little bit of old school, maybe juxtapose with some of the new school stuff. We have our biases versus the old stuff, but, there's some new stuff out there that's pretty good, too, so we're just going to talk a little bit about that. Today's first podcast, we are going to be talking about Red Dawn versus Red Dawn. The 1984... 84?
Yeah, 84.
84 rendition versus the 2012 rendition. So Chaz and I were discussing this off camera because we were waiting a long time for Mr. Family Man here. So I'll let Chaz kick it off. What are your impressions about the initial impressions versus the two movies?
First of all, the 84 version was a lot more gun-ho, more masculine, and less... They were more of a band of misfits than like the second one is a Marine, supposedly. No, not really. But the guy had training, and he still ends up dying. And spoiler, I guess.
Yeah,
if you haven't seen it.
if you haven't seen it, don't. No, wait a minute. No, that's a good point, though. That's one of the first things because I even made my little notes here. One of the first things I noticed about the new movies versus the old movies is...
I made notes, too, in a notebook on paper. He used his fancy phone.
Yes.
And so did Jason.
I did, too.
Jason.
Oh, my chicken scratch. I was
going to say, who's got the worst handwriting?
I don't think you can read it.
Can you read it now?
I titled it.
Oh, I know you can't read mine.
I titled mine, each of them, Red Dawn 84.
Jeez, you guys should be doctors. I'm looking at that handwriting. But no, that's a good point. It's the first one, the 84 version, had a lot of... I guess innocence to it.
Yes.
These were kids like fighting for their town.
Yeah.
When you already throw a Marine in there who can give them official
training,
military training, it kind of sets something off a little. You being our official Marine representative here on this show, how did he do as a Marine? How did Thor do as a Marine?
First of all, his accent was impeccable. No, but first most of the stuff was okay, but then when he met up with other Marines, first of all, he never identified himself as also a Marine. Like, he met up with some older vet Marines, and there was the over the top one Marine who kept using the same words over and over again, like, to make sure you knew he was a Marine and a grunt. But it was other than that, you really didn't know he was a Marine, except for that he said he was a Marine.
Yeah.
Well, that one guy, I think he only had that one line throughout 2012. I think that was it. It was the one thing he said every single time you saw him.
Well, and I mean, honestly, being a Marine, wouldn't he be constantly throughout the movie be making fun of the other branches of the military?
Oh, yes.
Isn't that what you all do?
That's what we do.
No offense to our other branches of the military who watch this, but these Marines, they're one of a kind. Anyway. So, Jason, let's hear from you, Mr. Family Man.
Well, the way I was critiquing it,
go ahead.
I went in for the.
Do you need to check your chicken scroll notes?
I can if I can remember what I wrote down.
Yeah, we can pause and edit this if you need to check your notes.
No, mainly with I went to the cinematography route. So I'm looking at it is the first one.
For the record, he actually has a background in cinematography, so he knows a little bit about what
I originally went to school for.
Yeah.
So basically, slower. The pace was much slower
in the first one.
In the first one.
Yeah.
Opening scene.
Yeah, because it was setting up a story, an actual story.
Exactly. It was set up more like a play, I thought, versus the second one. Steady cams, lots of running, the pace was much faster.
Yeah.
And different types of shooting with, using dollies and every movement in 2012 was everything was moving. It was never it was like not a nonstop moving, but each one in 84, as you look at it, it was like it was a pan, it was always an opening scene.
Yeah, a lot of wide shots, establishing shots.
The dialogue was mainly they would set up the camera, everyone was in there, and people would come in and have each dialogue. So that was much slower within the dialogue also.
Well, I gotta kind of agree with that too. One of the things from my high tech notes that I did was
Film experts.
I thought that in the 1984 version, to your point, it was slower because, to your point, it was building to a story, and these kids were learning.
Yeah.
In the second version, because they had a military expert on site, they literally do that A-team montage.
Yes.
Of them learning everything,
Yes.
like, we're gonna do this and we do that, and that kind of happened in fits and starts in the first one, but it seemed more natural.
Yes.
Yes, definitely more natural in the first one.
Yeah.
Now the one thing,
Even though they did have their 80s montage of, the saving people and blowing up stuff, Wolverine.
yeah, but that's kind of once you got into that, like they didn't start off like the first day.
Yeah,
doing military stuff. They started figuring out basic stuff like how are we going to eat,
hunting and eating. Yes.
Yeah. So it seemed a lot more like realistic. If paratroopers were to show up tomorrow.
Oh, and also in '84 they had the traitor, but it was he was their friend. He built into it. He was there with them. They've known him their whole life, and juxtaposed, if I could use that word.
Yeah, good job.
To the 2012, where the guy who betrays them, there's no payoff. He just met them. He just met them the night before. There was no love lost. There was no love there. They didn't know him. They just met him, and they thought they were gonna, get a group together and go. But he wasn't.
Versus some kid you had known your whole life at school.
And in '84, it's the angst of Patrick Swayze. Gonna holding his gun out and wanting to shoot him and just can't do it. And then Charlie Sheen, traitor, and shoots him. And then the other one, the other guy gets
almost
caught.
Shocking because they have that. They have that relationship.
Yeah, they had it. It was he betrayed us. That's it. It's his war. Got to get rid of him. And then in 2012, that guy you see later, he's got the the signature armband as the what do you call it? Not the sympathizer. The communist sympathizer or whatever, the North Korean sympathizer, and then he gets blown up in the explosion when they're taking out which is also kind of a thing where they did in the '84 version where they blew up the building and the guy gets caught.
Right.
But it wasn't.
There was less backstory between all the characters.
Yes, the characters didn't.
Which I think is important because it's tough to. It's tough to care about if somebody's in danger on the screen if you really don't care about them, right?
It was
Exactly. I felt like when I watch, even now, I felt his pain. It was his comrade. They were literally going to battle together, and they grew up together. And he was, Patrick Swayze was like crying and screaming and the whole point of it. And then he couldn't even do it. And then Charlie Sheen had been so, he was just hard and steeled from the battle he has already seen as a teenage kid, and he shoots this kid because he knows that guy's a traitor, and there's no coming back from it.
Well, that was the big thing I caught too with Swayze's character compared to
Chris Hemsworth.
Thor.
It's exactly what I wanted to say. Compared to Thor, there was sympathy, there was emotion within Swayze. He basically, like you said, he was learning as they were learning. And Thor, it was just cold. It was like whatever happened, he was teaching them how to go through everything, and he already knew basically what to do next.
No, and to your point, there's a whole scene in there where Chris Hemsworth gets them all together and says, this is going to be hard on you. This is easier for me because I've been trained for this and blah, blah. To your point, it's a very cold and calculated, very military style thing where. There's several scenes actually in the first one where you see people having to do things they don't want to do, but you see the emotion of it after. They're breaking down.
The deer scene.
Yeah.
The deer scene is basically one thing that they totally changed within both.
They made a joke in the second.
They made a joke out of it.
Yeah, they made
and you saw it coming.
Yes.
A mile away.
Oh God. Well, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the first one, basically, it was serious. You can really, as he was doing, he didn't want to kill the deer. He didn't want to, even though they were hungry, they're starving. It's not something that.
And then when the deer's not dead, he gets up there and goes for the second shot, and they're like, no, never a second shot, and they'll track you. Yeah.
Now let me ask you guys this, because I don't want this to turn into a big pile-on of the 2012 version. Is there anything about the second version you did like?
I did. In the first one, the girls are very just like side characters.
Yes.
The second one, are they great actors? No, but they're more involved. They actually, are more part of the story. They actually say more than 10 words in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And they made it more of a love story with each character, and the brother, what's Robbie?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is it Robbie? I don't know. You people at home, you can just fact check it. But the brother, Thor's brother,
Thor's little brother.
Thor's little brother.
His whole backstory is we're so worried about his girlfriend.
Matt.
Kid.
I think it was Matt.
Maddie. Oh, Maddie.
Maddie. Okay.
Robert.
Whatever. You could have insert generic white boy name here. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. His whole motivation throughout the first part of the movie is him trying to go after his girlfriend. Yeah. It kind of gave him a motivation of what to go after, but it was kind of weak. But the girl was hot. She was a smoke show, so I would have probably been after her too.
That's the one thing, and not to completely do a 180 on my own thing, not to pile on the newer version, but that's the one thing. She was so hot that like they run through that they're trying to hide from the communists, and they just put a couple new pair of pants on her, and like she walks down the street like. She's still basically supermodel level. You're gonna notice that.
Definitely.
Like, was the whole North Korean army gay? I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that.
But I'm pretty sure I would have killed half the North Korean army to sleep with her too.
Well, but you kind of indirectly hit on a point. Like, they actually gave that character some motivation, which was very realistic. You might sell out your group to save your girlfriend. But they didn't either develop it enough or just wasn't well done.
The turmoil between the two brothers was based on the one trying to save his girlfriend and the other one trying to keep everybody alive.
Yeah, right.
And so it kind of the conflict was good. It could have been a little bit more strong.
Yeah.
Strong points on both sides, but the conflict. It was meaningful, somewhat.
They also didn't go into the conflict between the two brothers.
It was no 1 minute.
They were like brothers. They were tight, and then all of a sudden
they were get shot.
Yeah, they were fighting with each other.
Yeah,
but you didn't know why they were really didn't disliked each other for some reason.
They touched briefly on he left. He left for the Marines when their mother died and left them all alone. But he didn't leave them all alone. It looked like their father was a caring father. Yeah. It wasn't like
they weren't at a bus stop.
Yeah, they didn't just leave them.
Good luck, kids.
It's like his father was there, a police officer, and they.
Yeah.
Now there's one thing from the new movie I kind of liked. Now this is the ignorant gun guy in me that I kind of liked, and I actually wish I had done more with. But there's a scene where he's kind of training the kids on weapons, and he has what I don't know. I think it looks like a Tech 9.
Yes.
And he's showing how it's actually like a really bad weapon to use from any sort of range.
Yes.
And he's shooting at the tree or whatever, and it's spraying everywhere. And I kind of like that, but it's like, why did you highlight that one little weapons training thing and not talk about anything else? Like the real man in me was like, yeah, cool. Talk about more weapons. Let's go. And then he just that was it. They were just kind of moved on.
Just that one little lesson. This weapon won't shoot anything.
If you're ever stuck in an apocalypse, don't use this gun. But
yeah, but they also just appeared with weapons. They were able to go in. That was the other thing. They were able to go into the urban. It
was a lot more.
Yeah, versus
that's what I was just about to say that how the other one was more like guerrilla warfare. You're out in the woods, you pop out and do something. Like even the first attack where the tank comes up to fill in, and then the girl runs away, and then they pop out and they pop, and they just light them up. That is awesome. That is it shows guerrilla warfare. And then I just don't understand how you're. First of all, I'm assuming that the city has a bunch of cameras all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the army that's there would notice people coming in and out of it each time they...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, there's no real checkpoints in and out of the city.
Yeah.
No, they're just walking around freely. It seems to be no problem.
Yeah.
At least in the first one, they do show when they do go into the city, they're hiding, they're
Yes.
low key. And the second one, somehow they got close to the stage and put a bomb underneath the stage. Like, how the hell did you get a bomb underneath the stage where their leader is going to be talking the next day?
Yeah.
How would you do that? No military,
No dog sweeps or anything.
and it's not, okay, a Marine trained them, but they're still kids, not kids, but they're young adults that don't have any kind
Hey,
of
they
training.
had an entire 18 montage of training. They're ready to go. They're explosive experts.
They're belly
weapons
crawling and
experts.
putting plastic.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly, no problem.
the North Koreans are just like, look at that. Maybe they just put the hot chick out there, and the North Koreans are talking to her. They're going underneath the stage, putting plastic. You kids got to go in there. Go ahead. I'll talk to this girl real quick. Hey,
All right, so let's since we're still having trouble finding great things we liked about the new one, is there any shortcomings to the old one we want to talk about?
Well, I guess it would be CGI versus non-CGI.
Yeah.
They, obviously...
Oh, yeah. When me and Jason watched it together, the parachutes.
Yeah.
There's guys parachuting in the middle of a field. You don't see any planes.
Yeah.
You don't hear any planes.
Yeah.
You see the parachute. And then there also the sound.
Yeah.
I'm not a big, movie guy like you guys are where you can pick up on this stuff, but I noticed in the first one where it sounded like cheesy background woods, like the tweeting birds and stuff. It was like such bad, like the sound, it was so bad that I when I was younger I was like, oh, this is an awesome movie. Now I'm like, it kind of took me out of it a little because they just shot and you still hear the birds chirping or they're shooting and then you hear real birds chirping. I'm like, oh.
The realistic value of it was, like I said, it was like a play. So you had background music as like an instrumental throughout the whole movie of '84, versus 12. There you can hear, basically there was actual music within the sound. It was more of a soundtrack.
Yeah, they had a soundtrack versus a composed music.
Yeah.
Now the one thing I will say. Give one small nod, and it's a little nod to the 2014 12. Thank you.
We forget what year we are now, so
Yeah, exactly. I don't even want to talk about 2014. Don't say the year which shall not be named. The one nod I will get is, and this is part and parcel because it took so long throughout the movie to actually develop any interest or feelings for any of the characters. But it did throw me that Jed actually died.
yes.
Oh, but what really threw me is the way he died.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big battle. It wasn't a big thing. He catches a bullet to the side of the head while he's running down a hallway.
Yeah.
It was. I was like, it's the most disappointing. Not the most, obviously.
Right, so I tried to give the movie a little nod, and he just
Yeah, there was no payoff to the Marine, no battle, no like in the first
there
one.
was a big battle.
He's a Marine,
And
so
then
this guy thinks he should go out and like Valhalla, like
Damn right. He just ceremoniously got shot by an off-screen you didn't even see a setup for a
For Odin!
It was basically the bad thing that I didn't like about the ending of 12 was it rushed through it. They got to a certain point and it's like, oh, we have to finish this movie. How are we going to finish this movie? And they just went...
Let's strap a minigun to a Mustang.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
To be fair, though, I kind of felt that a little bit about the older version too. Like after they all got shot up by those Russian helicopters, like it kind of feels like you would start wrapping it up.
I do have a big problem with that because C. Thomas Howell.
Yeah.
Him trying to face off against a helicopter with an AK-47. What an idiot! Isn't that the kid that used RPGs like the whole movie?
Yeah. All of a sudden he wants to stand out in the field.
Yeah, let's stand out in the field when there's mountains right here that I can hide behind a huge rock.
And he died right away.
Yeah.
The girl that got shot lived for hours later for some reason.
Yeah, and long enough
but then you had that dramatic, grenade scene.
Yes.
So that was nice.
But still, she got hit by at least a 40mm machine gun coming out of that.
Snapped her in half.
Yeah, it would have probably sawed her in half when she got hit by it. But yeah, so we're gonna let her live long enough for the guys to get out of the helicopters for whatever reason. Like guys in the helicopter.
Yeah.
And not to mention the RPG that did hit the helicopter.
It would knock the guy out.
Knocked one guy out.
One guy out of the helicopter.
And messed up the cup holders.
and the tape, it was like taped on wings that they tried to make those. I forgot. I looked it up. I forgot what kind of helicopters they were, but they bolted on wings to make it look more like a Hind because they weren't Hind helicopters.
Yeah.
And the lack of budget for that movie too. Like I think we saw the same tank 54 times. Like the big Russian tank with the anti-aircraft machine guns on it. I forgot what it was called, but there's definitely a T-72. I used to be a tow gunner, so I recognize the T-72 right off because we used to have to identify them by the tank treads and the silhouette. So they used the same T-72 like 3 or 4 times. I think it got blown up 4 times. But but then they used that same anti-aircraft tank. The budget was nowhere near the 2012.
So let me ask you this then to dovetail off that. If we had the storytelling play cinematic of the original combined with the budget of the second one, would we have a greater movie?
If you use the actors from the first movie,
Yeah.
because I could not get into Matty. Matty in the second movie was a whiny little bitch. He didn't have any. He was a football player, but he wasn't a country boy football player. They had a cabin, but he never really got the feel that he was a woodsman. Yeah. In the first one, you have. They're at least woodsmen. They know about the woods and they know about.
Your dad took them hunting up there all the time.
Exactly.
They knew everything. Yeah.
You just didn't get that. For some reason, I didn't get that feeling. He was just a whiny quarterback that.
I do want to say one thing, and this just popped into my mind. I agree with you 100%, but the scene in the first one where the Russians are coming up to they're driving up to the mountain to look at the state park or something.
Oh,
why are they just hanging off the rocks with bows and arrows?
Yeah, there must have been a scene cut. Like they were doing something over there, and then those guys showed up and they were hiding from them.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, why are you hanging off from like? They'll
just hang out here on the rock. I mean,
especially the one girl, like she was like, like.
And there's only 3 guys in a Jeep. Like, if you knew they were coming, you could have ambushed them in a better position than that.
Isn't that really their first real kill too? Like their first real.
Yeah, I suppose. But again, to your point, there might have been a scene cut, and that's something to look into. Internet dweebs, could you look into that for us?
Also, and let's do a little. We were talking about the supermodel in the second one, but Leah Thompson in the first one. Wow,
she's adorable.
Leah Thompson, no, she's adorable, but there was parts of that movie I was just like, oh my god, Marty's mom.
Marty's mom too.
Like, oh my god, she's there. I think that was definitely before Back to the Future.
Yep.
So it was right before. She might have been like.
She might have been filming when that one was released.
Yeah. Well, going back to '84, we figured out the historically first PG-13 movie ever.
Oh yes.
Was it really?
Yes, it was the first that we saw when I was.
My crack research team here, guys. Look at that.
Google.
I knew I had to bring them just for their pretty faces. All right. So I think it's safe to say if we can only watch Desert Island, we can only bring one movie out of the 2. We're bringing the '84 version.
84.
Just on a side note, I think I've been rocking in this chair like an idiot this whole time. So,
all right, so we're gonna cut. We're gonna start over.
I did notice. I didn't say anything though.
I don't know.
I'm like, oh yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's gonna look bad, but we got a mic off to the side here, so you're gonna hear. Well, so I might have to tweak it in the edit session. All right, so I think we've beaten to death the Red Dawn thing. So we're gonna do what we like to call on this podcast the speed round. Speed round. And we're just gonna BS just a little bit about a certain movie. So my boy Chaz here, this is his basement, his shrine to all things movies. Anyway. He's going to walk over to his little CD, DVD thing. For you younger people, that's what we used to watch movies on. And we're just going DVDs. We're just going to pull out a couple of random things and just give us our 10, 15 second takes on them. So pick us a couple of winners there, Chaz.
Okay, here we go.
This is where I'd put the theme music in, or something. Okay. I don't know.
I'm not looking. This is random. I'm going to drop some stuff on the ground.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Good one.
Yeah, give us
Okay.
3 or 4, or 5. I don't know. Whatever you're feeling.
I just broke half my stuff.
All right, let's start with this one because I have. Today, kids, we're going to talk about Horton Hears a Who.
I do have 2 children, and
Yeah, to
they
be fair-
loved that movie.
Actually, my kids like that movie too.
All right, I got to say, my kids like it too. I don't know. What can you say about Horton Hears a Who? I mean, we all like it.
It was a good movie.
quality.
It was a good quality family movie.
Jim Carrey's a little crazy, but he does some great voice acting in this.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Oh, I totally forgot that he was the voice.
Yeah.
You know what? I never
Yes.
even paid attention to that.
yeah.
Look at me. I should probably do more research before I do these stupid podcasts.
hey,
huh?
you know, and if you're gonna watch a Dr. Seuss movie, I'd watch this 10 times over, like say Mike Myers' rendition of Cat in the Hat.
Oh my God!
Which
no.
was just painful.
Yes.
And my kids like that movie too, and they always wanted to watch it. I'm like, how about we watch something else, kids? All right.
Lorax instead.
So Horton Hears a Who.
Lorax wasn't bad either.
Horton Hears a Who. Three thumbs up from these
Yeah,
knuckleheads
that was
here.
good.
All right, what else we got there, Jason? Oh, of course, we got Thor.
Which store? Is it just the?
Looks like the original.
Yeah.
The original 2.
Actually, I quite enjoyed that movie. It was Hemsworth actually taking the role on and making it his own. I really see him as Thor. I really do. And anything I watch him in, it's hard not to. And he's a great. You know, was it a great movie? Probably not. It had some good lines and some good banter. And
But
Luke's mom is pretty hot in that too.
But he's taken the role and perfected it. He's gone
Yes.
through it, and now.
Now, oh my God.
Yeah, I thought Ragnarok was great.
Oh,
Ragnarok.
that was awesome.
But this,
Probably
I mean,
one of my favorite movies.
this was
That was
his
great.
first. I mean, you have to your
Yeah.
point, you got to develop the character. You got to start developing the story.
Yep.
And it, for a first movie in the superhero set, this one was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got?
I haven't seen this one.
Hostel.
You haven't seen The Hostel?
No.
Oh, all right. Is this the one where the kid? Yes, I have seen this one. Okay.
It's where they go to a youth hostel in Europe, and
Yeah.
and they, people pay to torture people.
Well, yes. Yeah.
And it's
So not a kid-friendly movie.
Eli Roth. One of his best movies, I think. I love the way they torture people, and then just the revenge part of it is actually pretty cool too. And the writing, I think, I gotta really Eli Roth. I think he wrote that while he was Howard Stern. He was actually an intern for Howard Stern during his movie, and he sat outside of Howard Stern like at night. They had a bedroom set built for Howard, like while they were filming his movie, and he sat outside so nobody would disturb Howard. And that's when he did a lot of writing. I don't know if he wrote. I think he wrote part of this one while he was doing that, but it was actually pretty. Like I heard it on Howard Stern back when I actually liked Howard Stern. So that was pretty.
Well, and I gotta say, not until I actually held this thing did I realize this was Quentin Tarantino film.
Yes.
But it makes perfect sense
Yes.
now.
Yes. Yes.
After seeing the movie, I'm like, okay, yeah, it definitely has that Quentin Tarantino style. Yeah, okay, good.
I'll have to watch that one.
Yeah, you'll have to watch this one.
One of my favorites. I love this movie.
What's this one? Gladiator.
I could watch this movie every time it's on. It's like one of those ones you put on TV. Even if it's halfway through, you'll sit and watch it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. The time for revenge. Yeah, no,
The quotes of the movie. It's.
it took me a long time after this movie to actually like Phoenix again. Like
Well,
I hated.
poor Joaquin. Well, that's a testament to his acting. though, that you hate him that
Yeah,
much.
I really hated him after this movie. Like
Him as an
he
actor.
played a great villain. He plays a great villain.
He really does.
Each role in this, every character. I mean, they were amazing actors. Every role.
Well, and just backtracking for some of the stuff we did in Red Dawn, they did a great job of character development in this
Yes.
one.
Oh yes.
You cared about everybody.
Yes.
Or the people you're supposed to care
Yeah.
about, and you hated the people you're supposed to hate.
And
to my point.
Yeah.
Like I just don't
and
like
the
him.
story, just the storyline throughout the whole movie. I mean, it pulls you through until the last.
And what I liked about it too was, they made Maximus obviously kind of a badass fighter. That's how he's able to get away when they originally imprisoned him. But he's not like they didn't go so far as to make him so like superhuman that it was
Correct,
like
yeah.
unbelievable.
It wasn't
Yes.
it wasn't Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, right. And because I think that would have detracted from the story because he needs to die at the end.
Yes.
He needs to die at the end. There's almost something like.
Like where else would he have to go?
Shakespearean about
Because
it.
You're giving it away.
if he doesn't die, you just
He dies.
And where would he go from there?
Yeah.
He lost everything that was true to him.
Yeah,
And and it showed that back then, you didn't see your family for years.
Oh, yeah.
And you pined over him, and he had his little boyfriend that he brought around with him. But and don't get it twisted. That was his boyfriend, because that's what the Romans did back in the day.
But good flick. I recommend this one too.
Yes.
All right, I think that's about all the time we have on our premiere episode here of The Mountain, the Marine, and Jason. Look forward to, please, like and subscribe, and tune in for...
And one of those buttons is here, maybe down here.
Maybe it's down here,
maybe
it's over here.
Could be over here.
Usually over here.
Yeah, somewhere here. I don't know.
Hopefully Ray will superimpose boobs right here.
Might be here or here.
But definitely like this. You gotta like this.
We haven't picked out what movies we're gonna do just yet, but we'll find something good. There's lots of great remakes of old movies, so we'll be doing this for a while. So strap in.
Comment one and maybe we'll
strap in, strap on.
Yeah.
Thank
Semper
you.
Fi, brothers.